Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Makerspace Online Workshop. This is Fusion 360 Lesson 2, Building with Sketch. So let's start out with, we want to go back to your projects. So I've got a bunch of projects here, but we want to go back to your folder that you made in last lesson. Click on that. You see my last file here, the intro. We'll go over here to the top of the page. You see Untitled. Let's hit save, and let's call this lesson 2. Actually, better say Fusion lesson 2. Make sure the location is the right folder, and go save. Alright, after that finishes saving, let's just close that. So we've got the full interface here. Let's turn on Origin. So today we're going to create from a sketch. I use this a lot. You can use it in combination with many of the other ways to create objects, which I usually do, but this is my favorite way to start out something. The first thing you want to do is sketch out the footprint of your object. So think of it as looking at your object over top of it, so the plan view looking down on it. And every shape you see that can be extruded upwards needs to be drawn out. So I'll just show you what I mean. Let's go to Create, and the second item down is Create Sketch. Okay? So we're going to click on the plan view or the top view plane. And now we're going to go up to rectangle, and as most items you see, they have variables on how you can create them. So let's go center rectangle. We're going to click on the 0, 0 origin point, and I'm just going to pull this out to about there. Now, let's say I'm making a USB holder. I want another rectangle. This is kind of not going where I want it to. Let's go create rectangle 2 point, so I don't have to start in the middle. That's great. And I think I want to zoom in for this. And I'm going to create the inside of the holder. And let's just create a circle over here for fun. Now, because I'm just trying to show you this, I'm going to do this fairly quickly. It's not going to be accurate or the right dimensions, but we'll go over how to do everything here. Let's turn the origin off. Don't really need that right now. Let's go to Create. The very bottom of Create is Sketch Dimension. Now you can see the letter D. You can also use your keyboard, just hit D. So when I click on this line now, any of these lines, it's going to let me define that. So now I can say, I think it should be 4 inches. And let's see, this is 2.08. Let's just make that 2 inches. So you can see how you can do all these objects and do accurate dimensions on everything. So we could do an accurate, I don't actually have a USB in front of me, so I'm just going to guess, but let's say 1.5. Let's say that's 0.4, and again you can do it with this stuff too. 1.2, and I'm fine. I'm happy with that. Now let's go over to Modify up here. Move Copy. Now this isn't quite in the center. I'm going to show you a better way to do this in a bit, but we can move this now. By the way, you see these things up here. This is for actually rotating, so I can grab that and rotate an object too. I'm going to go Control Z to undo that, and I'm just going to move the arrows around until I'm happy with this. Okay, and then you have to go over here and go OK. So I'm happy with that. Now I'll show you a better way to do that inside rectangle because it should be accurate. You can see here on this circle, let's say I want to make that a pen holder or something. I'm going to go back to Modify and Offset, and you can use the letter O for this. I'm going to click on this, And you can see there's a red ring. That is not a cut ring, like when you're playing with shapes and that and modifying it. This is actually another line or circle offset from your original one in blue. Okay, so I can go inside or outside. I think I'm going to go outside. I think that wall thickness is about right. And you can see. So you can see if I did it with this, it would have been right. In fact, let's just click these. And this is something you probably should know too. You can hit delete. Click that line, delete it, delete it. Now the inside's gone. So let's go modify offset. And then you can see you get a perfect inside core. That looks good. Okay. So I'm just going to say now you can click here, finish sketch, or you can go up here, finish sketch, and that's it. Now, if I rotate around this, you can see it's just a two-dimensional flat plane here, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the Create menu. I'm going to go Extrude. Now you can also hit the letter E, that will extrude for you. Now with Extrude, you click on the actual faces. And you can see I can do that, and if I start extruding, you can see it's going to extrude without those holes. I'm going to go cancel. It's not actually what I want to do. I want a base, so I want everything extruded. So I'm going to hit E, and click on that, excuse me, and click on that. It's kind of in the way there. Maybe about that thick. I would usually do a base if I'm 3D printing about 4 millimeters. I'm working in inches right now. New body looks good. I'm going to click that. Now we can fly around this, and you see there's no sketch anymore. For some reason, whenever you extrude, it turns off sketch. I'm going to turn that back on. I'm also going to name this now. Let's say this is the base. Always good to name it. And I can also name this the base. So there's a solid rectangle. Let's just go to the bottom now, and we can see these objects. I'm going to hit type the letter E in, and just click in that area, and I'm going to extrude upwards. And you can see it's going to want to cut it right away, which is fine. You can cut that out if that's what you were doing. But we want to make a slot for the USB or SD card, so I'm just going to say join. And there we have our object, and you can see here it's the same object because we just went join. Now I could have done both of these at the same time. It's a good idea if you want to extrude things and they're all the same. You can extrude them all at once, unless you thought you may want to go back in the timeline down here. Remember, we can go backwards. If you extrude everything at once, but you just want to change one thing in the future, well, you're going to have to then undo all the extrudes. So I hope you understand that. So I'm going to extrude this one. Just going to click on that again. And I'm going to go up once to cut again. Thinking, well, this could be a pen holder. So I don't want cut. I want join again. There we go. We can now turn the sketches off. And we can see the object we made. Cool. Now, something I recommend a lot and I use a lot is fillet. If you're 3D printing this, weak points are usually here. There's not a lot of material here where it joins, so there is basically a grid core in here for the actual walls. So this can be a weak area. So I always like to fillet it. Where it meets an object, it's basically going to cove it. So you can do the cove any size you want. That's going to strengthen it a lot. Hit F for fillet again. The cool thing about Fusion is you can see I'm just rolling over and it's showing me all the lines. That's the inside line. Don't want to do that. It's the outside line on the back, and that's the other line. It is definitely good to fillet the 4 sides all at once. You don't really want to do those separately. And then if you want to go back and change them on your timeline later, you can. I'm just going to go OK, and I'm just going to show you what I mean by that. I can go back to any of these. Let's say that, double click that, and I can change that to whatever I want later. Okay. I usually like to fillet most of the lines, especially if this is going to be 3D printed. This is very important here if you're machining it, because your machine bit can't get into a perpendicular edge. It's going to have a lot of trouble. This helps it out. And especially if it's in plastic, these edges are quite sharp usually, so I would usually go around and type the letter F, fillet these edges. I'd probably fillet these edges too. But okay, I clicked on a face for some reason, so got to make sure you just click the edge lines. And there we go. So we can go all the way. You can see the warning because I've gone past the bottom. It won't let you do things that can't actually be made, which is a great feature, and go OK. Okay, I'm going to turn the origin on one more time just to show you what's going on here. Now I'm going to do another sketch, a second sketch. I'm going to go create sketch. I'm going to put a hole through this thing. So I can put an object, a hole, whatever I wanted. Create sketch. I'm going to click on that plane. I'm going to go up to circle. I think I'll just put a hole in there. I'm going to go finish sketch. And you see now I have two sketches. I'm just going to rename that. You see I'm double clicking and the sketch is coming up again. You can click on any of these at any time and pull up the sketch again and change it if you need to. So I'm just going to say hole, enter. I'm going to go back to finish sketch. And now you can see there's my base sketch at the bottom. I'm going to turn that off. We just want the whole sketch right now. I'm going to turn off the origin. Now I'm going to go extrude again, so letter E, click on that, and I'm going to go through. Now it's a good idea to, if you're going right through an object, you can certainly do it by just going just past the object. That works, except for one thing. If you wanted to later go backwards on your timeline, and you changed like the depth of this, then it's a possibility that hole would not go through it anymore. So what we want to do is go up to here, it says one side, and go to two sides. Now we're going to just click on the other side where the hole comes out, and you see the hole's absolutely perfect. Okay, so we'll try one more thing here. We're going to turn the origin on. We're going to create one more sketch. Let's do it on this line. And let's create a circle. Finish the sketch. Now I'm going to go extrude. And again, we can do a hole all the way through, but we can also do a join. And just do a cylinder coming out of that. Now, this doesn't really look like much, but if you think of objects, every object is just made up of a number of different objects. So really analyze what you have to do, maybe try to build something you already have, or come up with something and visualize it, try to pre-visualize it, write down dimensions, and write down, draw out, sketch out, whatever you feel comfortable with, how the object can be created, how it can be made, what shapes and forms make it, and then you can start planning out how to do this. So again here, if we wanted to fillet this, we can do a nice fillet in here. And that's going to strengthen that. Okay, now the last thing is we still have only one body here because everything I did was joined. So just to show you what to do if you've just created something you want to now 3D print, you can click on the base, right click, and any 3D program is going to let you do this. Save as an STL. Save as STL. You can click on the refinement here and you can go to high, medium, low. I usually just leave it on medium. Seems to always print fine. Go OK. It's going to want to save your file somewhere as an STL. You then bring your file into a specific software program that comes with your 3D printer, and that will then create the slices that your 3D printer understands. So that's it for lesson 2. building with Sketch in Fusion 360. Our next lesson in Fusion 360 is going to be building from forms. So this is how to create really organic shapes, great for creating things like spaceships and that kind of thing. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.